I'm so grateful that I was on academic probation in law school. I just was never good at law school. Most of the time, I sat in the last row of class with my laptop and I played online poker because somehow I knew I just looked around at all the incredibly intelligent people sitting beside me, sitting in class with me, and I knew there was no way I was going to be able to compete with these people in this realm. I was not going to be able to beat all of these geniuses that I was sitting next to at their own game. People who had dreamed of being an attorney their whole life. I just wasn't going to beat them. I didn't like doing it, and I wasn't good at it. And that was a recipe for disaster. So I sat in law school playing Texas Hold'em online. This is about 2000, maybe 8. And right around 2008, I got put on academic probation and I drove home just in a bit of a gut check moment. It was about an hour for me to drive from where I lived to law school every day. And one day after studying on a Saturday, right, I would go to law school on Saturday at like 6 or 7 in the morning and just study until I couldn't take it anymore. And at this particular Saturday, it was in the middle of the day, like noon. I started driving home and I stopped at Barnes and Noble bookstore. And I just started looking around at books. And one orange book caught my eye. Yeah, it's not here. One orange book caught my eye. It was The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And I'm so grateful. I have so much gratitude for this life that I built where I make a living in two ways. Number one, I lift weights. I lift weights and money falls into my bank account. And number two, I help attorneys build themselves, build their business. I help attorneys. I no longer compete against other attorneys. I help them become the attorney they always wanted to be, whether that's getting in shape, whether that's building their business through my marketing. But I'm still sitting in the back of class playing a video game. I'm just playing this video game of online marketing and online fitness. And the better I get at it, the more fun it is. It is an incredible life that I'm so grateful for. uh, a lot of times I try to help people and I just tell them the simple answers that helped me because none of it was very complicated. Like I said, I'm not a genius. I couldn't compete with all the law school geniuses who are now lawyer geniuses. I couldn't compete with them at their own game. I had to play Dustin's game, right? And when I tell people what I did to get the career I always wanted, people, I don't like to talk about money, but it's hard for me to say I became X% more integrity. I became X% more courage. But you can understand I went from less than zero net worth in debt to millionaire status. Okay. So money is just a way of keeping score. A lot of times people ask me, how do I make money or how do I become a millionaire? And when I tell them what I did, the simple steps, they say, well, that's you. Well, I'm not like you. And the reality is, I'm just like you. I'm no different than you. What worked for me will work for you. What one man can do, another can do. All right. These laws, these universal laws are just that. They are universal principles, universal laws. They will work for everybody, just like gravity. Gravity affects everybody the same. If you're Mexican, gravity is pushing downward at 9.8 meters per second squared. If you're from Turkey, gravity is pushing you downward at 9.8 meters per second squared. If you're from El Salvador, Europe, whatever, if you're fat, skinny, crazy, gravity affects us all the same way. It is a universal law of gravity. And these success principles, they're all just universal. I'm not special. That person you look up to and admire, your mentors, they are not special. We're all just like you. And it's so hard for me to live such an incredibly great life where I'm just grateful for everything. At this point, I'm grateful for the problems I face at this time because it just gives me an opportunity for more growth, for it gives me an opportunity to teach someone else this is how I overcame the problems of my past. This is how I dropped porn. This is how I dropped alcohol. This is how I dropped poverty and debt. And this problem you see in front of me right now, I'm going to level that mountain with the same universal principles, okay? And it's two that are extremely important that you got to just grasp onto. You have to just believe in this. Every day, work on you. Every day, create the highest version of yourself, okay? And I like the way Wes Watson puts it. He says, create the man you always needed in your life. And we love our parents, no matter what they did, right or wrong, we love them. But the man I always needed in my life was sober. He had a great grasp of money, how to produce income in this life. He was full of integrity. Like, this was the man I always needed in my life. Someone who was strong, who had no fear and anxiety, because I needed that man in my life because, frankly, they were all qualities that my father lacked. He was an alcoholic. He lived his life in fear of just about everything, especially losing his job, especially not having enough money. He was always angry. And I felt the weight and the burden as a child in that house of all of that anxiety and fear. And I had to unlearn that as an adult. You, just like me, have a father, or you had the absence of a father in your life. You had a mother or the absence of a mother in your life. Every day, create the man you always needed. And I do that in the morning. Every morning, I read, I pray, I work out in the gym. But all of that, the reading, the praying, the training in the gym, is simply to create this, the iron mindset that can tackle every problem in my life. This this iron mind that can create the future I always wanted. This iron mind that can affect the entire world. Why do I say that? Because the second part of these universal principles is this. After you create the man you always needed in your life, give that person away to the world, okay? Because it's not about you. I consider myself on this earth temporarily on assignment from God, right? And at some point, I got to a place where what I wanted for my life didn't matter. It was, what is the mission God has given me? And I'm on mission. And I'm creating the best soldier for that mission every day and just giving that person into the service of God, something higher than myself, right? Because it can't be about you. If you're in a place where your life just doesn't make sense, maybe you can't figure out how to make money, maybe every relationship you're in falls apart, you need to join the mission, all right? And the mission is this: create the man you always needed in your life. Give that person away to the world. That's a universal principle. That's a commandment from God. If you do that, your life is going to magically get better, because it's not the degrees on the wall, that are going to make your life better. An engineering degree and a law degree and a license to practice law from the state of Texas. And for all intents and purposes, I build websites and lift weights for a living. And my life could not be better. And I'm so grateful for it. Okay. I want you to experience this gratitude, right? I want you to be grateful for what you do every day in life. I want you to have the feeling of being able to think your desired reality into existence. And a lot of that comes with just living in alignment with these universal principles, these laws that the creator of the universe put in place for us to live by. And if you get in alignment with the creator's laws, your life is just going to get better. Things are just going to happen for you. And at some point, it's going to seem like you're sitting in the eye of a storm, the eye of a hurricane, completely satisfied, completely content and fulfilled. And you're just using this right here to make what you want in life happen. You're using this mind that you work on every day to make the world a better place. And sometimes it feels like I'm still sitting in the back of law school just playing a video game. That video game is online marketing. That video game is online fitness. That video game is picking up my cell phone every day and making a post on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or even LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever. And from that post, people's life gets better. Someone comes to the realization that they need to drop the drugs, drop the drink. They need to build their mind, build their spirit, build their body. And their whole bloodline changes because someone said, I'm the one. So you have to realize that none of what you see on the surface is the real game, right? Everything has a deeper meaning. Every rep, right? Every rep you are pulling your desired reality closer to you. Every time you help somebody, you're making the world better. And in turn, you're making your life better. And every time you stop to feel gratitude, to feel grateful, it's as if you are saying, thank you, God, for this life you've allowed me to live. Thank you for another day here on your earth.